Welcome to Whispers of the Night. I'm so glad you're here. Take a moment to settle in. Let your shoulders soften and allow the day to slowly fade away. Tonight's story is called Gentle Rustle of Forgotten Pages, a quiet journey through memory, stillness, and the comfort of forgotten stories. If you find peace here, if these stories help you rest, please consider subscribing to Whispers of the Night. Your support allows us to keep creating gentle stories for sleep calm and quiet evenings. You can also like this video or leave a soft comment below. It truly helps this little corner of the night grow. Now, dim the lights, rest your head, and let the world slow down. When you're ready, we begin. Before the story begins, let's take a few moments to relax completely. Gently close your eyes and take a slow, deep breath in through your nose. Hold it for just a moment, and then release it softly through your mouth again. Inhale calm and exhale everything you no longer need to carry tonight. Feel the surface beneath you supporting your body. You don't need to hold yourself up anymore. Let your weight sink down. Let gravity do the work. Relax your forehead, your eyelids, your jaw. Allow your tongue to rest naturally. Let the calm travel down your neck, through your shoulders, your arms, all the way to your fingertips. With each breath, your heartbeat slows. Your thoughts grow quieter, like pages gently closing at the end of a long day. If your mind wanders, that's okay. Simply notice your breathing, steady, soft, unhurried. You are safe here. There is nothing to do, nowhere to go. Just rest, and when you're ready, allow the story to carry you into sleep. Gentle rustle of forgotten pages. The library that breathes at dusk. Anara Belwin always closed the library slowly, not out of obligation, but out of respect. She believed old buildings noticed such things, the way hands lingered on doorframes, the patience with which lights were dimmed, the softness of footsteps at the end of the day. The town's ancient library had stood longer than any living resident could remember. Its stones darkened by time, its windows tall and narrow like thoughtful eyes. At dusk, it seemed to lean inward, listening. The last visitor had left moments ago, the heavy wooden door settling behind them with a familiar sigh. Outside, twilight spread like a deepening breath, the sky shifting into hues of lavender and fading gold. Inside, the library hummed with quiet, a sound so gentle it was felt more than heard. Anara paused at the circulation desk, fingers resting on the smooth grain of the wood, letting the stillness settle into her bones. She was in her early 30s, though time often moved differently around her. Her presence was calming in a way she never consciously cultivated. People said they felt steadier after speaking with her, as if her voice slowed the world just enough to make sense of it. Perhaps it was her profession an archivist among forgotten things, or perhaps it was simply her nature to move gently, as if afraid of startling moments before they were ready to unfold. She gathered the returned books one by one, stacking them carefully on the cart. Each cover felt warm from having been held, each spine bearing the subtle memory of other hands. Stories always left traces. Anara believed that deeply. She believed stories were alive, not in the way people often imagined, but in quieter, more patient ways. As she pushed the cart toward the back stacks, the lamps along the aisles flickered on automatically. Their amber glow softened the shadows, turning the rows of shelves into long, comforting corridors. Dust motes drifted lazily through the light, like tiny stars suspended in an indoor sky. The scent of old paper and polished wood wrapped around her, familiar and reassuring. She began shelving in silence, the soft thump of books finding their homes echoing gently. Her movements were unhurried. There was no rush now. The day had released her from its expectations. Outside, the town was preparing for evening doors closing, kettles heating, curtains being drawn, but inside the library, time loosened its grip. It was then that she heard it at first. Anara thought it was the settling of the building, the natural creak and sigh of old beams adjusting to cooler air. The library often made such sounds, especially at dusk, but this was different, softer, rhythmic, like the faint brush of fingertips against paper. She stopped mid-step. The sound came again, a delicate rustle. Unmistakably, the turning of a page. Anara held her breath, listening. The aisles stretched out before her, empty. No patrons remained. The front desk was unattended, the doors locked. The sound did not belong to any place where people were supposed to be. She felt no fear, only curiosity tinged with a gentle warmth, as if the library itself had decided to speak. "Hello," she murmured, her voice barely disturbing the air. No answer came, but the rustling continued, slow and deliberate, as though some unseen reader was taking their time. Anara followed the sound, her steps soft against the worn carpet. It led her deeper into the archives, past sections rarely visited, local histories, brittle newspapers, journals written in careful, looping script. The farther she went, the more the air seemed to change. It grew warmer, thicker with memory. The lamps here were dimmer, their glow more intimate. Anara felt as though she were walking into a held breath. She reached a small alcove tucked behind the main stacks. It was one of her favorite places in the library, though few knew it existed. A single reading table stood there, accompanied by an old armchair whose fabric had faded into a gentle blue-gray. On the table lay an open book. Anara stopped at the threshold. The book's pages turned on their own, slowly, reverently, as if guided by an unseen hand, or perhaps by a careful current of air that did not touch her skin. The sound was unmistakable now, page after page, each one settling with a quiet whisper. She stepped closer, heart calm, mind open. The book was one she recognized, a collection of personal letters from the late 19th century, donated decades ago and seldom requested. The paper was fragile, the ink softened by age. Anara had catalogued it herself, her fingers gloved, her breath shallow with care. Now, the book seemed awake as she approached. The pages stopped turning, resting open on a letter written in a neat, slanted hand. Anara leaned in. reading without touching. The words spoke of small things, a woman describing the comfort of evening lamplight, the sound of wind through tall grass, the quiet joy of being alone yet not lonely. The letter ended mid-thought, as if the writer had been interrupted, or perhaps had simply decided to stop while the feeling was still complete. Anara felt a soft ache in her chest. Not sadness, exactly, more like recognition. She reached out, hesitating only a moment before gently resting her fingertips on the edge of the page. It was warm, the library exhaled. She felt it then not as a sound, but as a sensation. The building itself seemed to breathe, a slow, steady rhythm that matched her own. The shelves, the books, the walls, all of it was part of something quietly alive, sustained by stories remembered and forgotten alike. Anara closed her eyes. Memories brushed against her thoughts, not her own, but impressions. The murmur of voices long gone, the weight of years passing gently, like snow settling on a windowsill. She felt the presence of countless readers who had once sat where she now stood, seeking comfort, escape, understanding. When she opened her eyes, the book lay still. The page remained open, waiting. "It's all right," she whispered, though she wasn't sure who she was speaking to. "I'm here." The lamps flickered once, then steadied. The air seemed to soften further, wrapping around her like a shawl. Anara pulled the armchair closer to the table and sat, smoothing her skirt before settling in. She did not question the moment. Some things, she knew, asked only to be accepted. She read slowly, allowing the words to sink in, to echo in the quiet spaces inside her. Each sentence felt like a small gift offered across time. Outside the alcove, the library remained hushed, holding its breath alongside her. As minutes soared, perhaps hours passed, the sky beyond the windows deepened into night. The lamps glowed warmly, their light pooling on the floor. Anara read until the words grew soft at the edges, until her eyelids felt heavy, until the quiet became something she could rest within. When she finally closed the book, the sound was gentle, final in the most comforting way. She placed her hand on the cover, gratitude blooming quietly in her chest. "I'll be back tomorrow," she said, smiling faintly. The library seemed to listen. She stood, returned the book to its place with care, and made her way toward the front desk. The rustling did not return, but the sense of presence lingered, calm and watchful, as she turned off the last lamp and unlocked the door. Anara felt as though she were leaving a living thing to its sleep. Outside, the night air was cool and kind. She closed the door behind her, the library settling into silence once more. But Anara carried the rhythm of its breathing with her, a gentle reminder that even forgotten pages were never truly alone in. Neither was she. She walked home under a sky scattered with stars, her steps light, her mind quiet, knowing that tomorrow, at dusk, the library would be waiting. A book with no borrower's name. Morning light arrived at the library in careful stages. First, it touched the upper windows, pale and tentative, then slid slowly down the stone walls until it reached the wooden floor. where it rested like a promise kept. Anara Belwyn unlocked the door just as the bells from the distant clock tower finished their final chime. She paused, as she always did, hand on the handle, listening to the quiet on the other side. The library felt different in the daylight, less secretive, perhaps, but no less alive. If anything, the morning made its presence gentler, as though the building had stretched and settled after a long, thoughtful night. Anara stepped inside and closed the door behind her, breathing in the familiar scent of paper and polish. It greeted her like an old friend. She went about her opening rituals slowly. Curtains were drawn back just enough to let the sun soften the room. Lamps were left unlit for now. The front desk was wiped clean, its surface cool beneath her cloth. Each motion grounded her, steadying her thoughts after the strange, beautiful quiet of the evening before. She did not rush toward the back stacks, though some part of her felt gently pulled in that direction. Instead, she allowed the morning to unfold naturally, shelving returns, answering the occasional early visitor's question, nodding kindly to those who preferred silence over conversation. By late morning, the library had found its rhythm, a calm ebb and flow of footsteps and turning pages. It was during one of these quiet stretches, when the sun hung high enough to illuminate the dust drifting lazily in the air, that Anara felt it again. That subtle sensation, like a fingertip brushing the edge of her awareness. She was in the western stacks, where the shelves rose taller than elsewhere, their upper reaches accessible only by a narrow rolling ladder. Few people came here unless they were searching for something very specific. The books in this section were old, their subjects narrow and often forgotten. Regional folklore, personal memoirs published in small runs, collections of letters bound long after their authors had faded from memory. Anara ran her fingers along the spines as she walked, not reading titles, simply listening. She had learned long ago that books spoke in ways that had nothing to do with words. Something tugged at her, a tension near the end of the aisle. The shelf there was uneven, one of its boards slightly warped with age. Taller volumes stood in front, their heavy bindings forming a kind of quiet wall. Behind them, barely visible, was a smaller book wedged back against the wood. Anara hesitated, then gently shifted the larger books aside. The smaller one slid forward, as if relieved. It was modest in size, its cover a muted brown, the leather cracked and softened until it felt almost like fabric. No title was embossed on the spine, no author's name greeted her, only the faint impression of lettering long since worn away. She lifted it carefully. The book was warm, not warm in the way a sunlit surface might be, but subtly, intimately warm, as though it had recently been held. Anara frowned slightly, puzzled but calm. The library was climate-controlled, the shelves cool to the touch. There was no reason for this. She carried the book to a nearby table and set it down, her movements deliberate. The leather creaked softly beneath her fingers, a sound more like a sigh than a complaint. When she opened the cover, the pages inside were yellowed and delicate, their edges uneven. They exhaled a faint scent of ink and time. Before reading, Anara did what she always did. She checked the ledger. The borrowing records were kept in a thick book behind the desk, its pages meticulously organized by accession number. Anara located the entry for the small brown volume, her brow furrowing as she traced the line with her finger. No borrower's name, not recently, not decades ago, not ever. The dates of acquisition were clear anonymously many years earlier, but the columns, where names should have appeared, were empty, clean, untouched, as though the book had never left shelf. Yet, the spine told a different story. It was softened from repeated handling, its edges smoothed by countless thumbs. This was not the wear of age alone. This was the wear of being loved. Anara returned to the table, the ledger's quiet mystery settling into her thoughts like a slow snowfall. She sat and opened the book again, this time with intention. The handwriting inside was neat but varied, shifting subtly from page to page. It was not a single journal, she realized, but many voices bound together. There were no dates, no signatures, just fragments. She read a line describing the sound of rain against a tin roof. Another spoke of waiting for someone who never arrived, yet doing so without bitterness. A third captured a moment of unexpected joyous stranger smile on a train. A shared laugh that lingered longer than it should have. As Anara read, the air around her seemed to change. It grew heavier, not unpleasantly so, but with a sense of presence. The quiet of the library deepened, stretching outward, as if making room for something unseen. Anara became aware of a faint shimmer at the edge of her vision, like heat rising from stone. She blinked, and the shimmer became something else. Memories not her own drifted gently into the space around her. She smelled smoke and apples, felt the rough weave of a wool coat against her palms. She heard a voice humming softly, a tune she did not recognize, but somehow knew by heart. The sensations passed through her like a tide, leaving behind a warmth that settled in her chest. Anara did not panic. She did not even move. She read on. With each page, more impressions surfaced. A narrow street at dawn, ink-stained fingers tapping nervously against a table. The comfort of sitting beside someone in silence, sharing nothing but the same quiet moment. These memories did not overwhelm her. They brushed against her awareness like feathers, light and fleeting. She realized then what the book was. It was not borrowed because it did not belong to any one person. It had been read here, within the library's walls, by those who needed it in passing. The book did not leave. Instead, it invited people to leave parts of themselves behind and written, yet somehow preserved. Anara closed her eyes, letting the impressions settle. She felt gratitude, tenderness, a soft ache that held no pain. The library seemed to breathe around her, the shelves standing like patient witnesses. When she opened her eyes again, the words on the page appeared unchanged, but she was not. She turned to a blank page near the back of the book. There was no pen in her hand, no ink to mark the paper. Yet she felt an impulse, gentle but persistent. She rested her fingertips on the page. A memory surfaced from within her, unbidden. A childhood afternoon spent reading beneath a tree while the world moved quietly around her. The feeling of safety in solitude. The understanding, even then, that stories could hold you when nothing else could. The page warmed beneath her touch. She lifted her hand, breath catching softly, and the sensation faded, leaving behind a sense of completion. She did not know how she knew, but she was certain something had been added, not in words, but in presence. Anara closed the book and held it for a moment, cradling it as one might a sleeping child. Then she returned it to its place behind the taller volumes, carefully restoring the shelf to its original order. The library felt content as the day wore on. Anara moved through her duties with a quiet glow lingering beneath her calm exterior. Visitors came and went, pages turned. The world outside continued in its ordinary way, but something fundamental had shifted, like a door opening just wide enough to let understanding through. When evening approached and the light began to soften once more, Anara glanced toward the western stacks. She smiled faintly, a private acknowledgement. Some books, she knew now, were never meant to be borrowed. They were meant to be shared silently and together within the breathing heart of the place that kept them safe. Stories that whisper back. Night arrived softly, as if it did not wish to intrude. The town beyond the library windows dimmed into silhouettes, rooftops folding into shadow, streets settling into a hush broken only by distant footsteps and the occasional murmur of wind. Inside, the lamps were lit one by one, their amber glow blooming gently, turning the vast room into a constellation of quiet pools. Anara Baldwin remained long after the final visitor had gone. She had meant to close on time. She always did. Yet the hours had loosened their edges around her, slipping by without urgency. The library seemed to encourage this unhurriedness, holding her in a calm that made clocks feel unnecessary. She sat at the long wooden table near the back stacks, the worn book resting open before her, the one with no borrower's name. Its pages caught the lamplight softly, as though absorbing it rather than reflecting it. The air around her felt warmer than the rest of the room. Not heavy, but attentive. Anara exhaled slowly and read dot. At first, the words were simply words, gentle, fragmentary glimpses of lives paused mid-thought. A description of steam rising from a cup of tea, a memory of hands brushing briefly on a stairwell railing, a sentence that ended just before a goodbye. But as the night deepened, something subtle shifted. She became aware of a sensation behind the words, as though they were listening while she read, not watching listening. Her thoughts slowed naturally, unspooling in the quiet. With each steady breath, her body seemed to sink more fully into the chair, the tension of the day dissolving into the wood beneath her. She lingered over a passage about a woman who walked the same path every evening, counting her steps not out of habit but comfort. As Anara read, she thought without intention about her own routines, the gentle ones she had built to keep herself steady in the world. The page fluttered just once, barely enough to notice. Anara paused, her fingertip resting on the margin. The page did not turn. It settled again, as if nothing had happened. She continued. The next fragment spoke of a love never spoken aloud, yet understood completely in the space between glances. Anara felt a warmth bloom in her chest, a soft ache that was not sadness but recognition. She had known that feeling the quiet fullness of connection without declaration as the thought formed. A whisper brushed the air, not a sound she heard with her ears, but one she felt in the gentle hollow beneath her ribs. it was enough. Anara's breath caught, then slowed. She did not look around. She did not startle. Instead, she rested her palm flat against the table, grounding herself in the smooth grain of the wood. Her heartbeat eased, settling into a rhythm that felt guided rather than accidental. She read on. Each page seemed to respond, not with answers, but with understanding. When her mind wandered to loneliness, the next passage described solitude as a room with open windows. When she thought of loss, the words that followed spoke of things leaving without truly disappearing, of echoes that lingered kindly. The whispers came and went, never overlapping, never demanding attention. They were like breaths shared in the dark, perfectly timed with her own. Anara realized she was no longer simply reading. She was being read, her thoughts, gentle and unguarded in the stillness, brushed against the stories, and the stories brushed back. It was an exchange as quiet as snowfall. She felt seen in a way that required nothing from her, no explanation, no performance, only presence. She leaned back slightly, allowing the chair to support her fully. Her shoulders relaxed, her jaw unclenched. The soft ticking of the distant clock faded until even that seemed optional. One page revealed a small joy, a man repairing a chair simply because he liked the way it felt to make something sturdy again. As Inara read, she thought of the way she reshelved books with particular care, aligning their spines just so, smoothing them into place, as if tucking them in. That counts too, the whisper seemed to say, her lips curved into the faintest smile. Another page carried a loss so quiet it might have gone unnoticed. Letter never sent, folded and refolded until the creases wore thin. Anara felt a heaviness rise, then settle. The whisper that followed did not try to ease it away. You're allowed to carry this gently. Her breathing deepened, long and even. The world narrowed to the circle of lamplight, the soft rustle of paper, the steady presence of the library around her. She felt the building breathing slow, patient, in no hurry for the night to end. Time loosened completely. Pages turned, sometimes by her hand, sometimes on their own. Each one arriving exactly when she was ready. The whispers did not narrate the stories. They held them, wrapping each fragment in calm acknowledgement. Anara's thoughts drifted more freely now, unafraid of being too much or too little. When she felt tired, the words softened. When her attention sharpened, the stories deepened. It was as though the book adjusted itself to her, rather than the other way around. Her heartbeat slowed further, each pulse a quiet assurance. She became aware of how safe she felt, not protected from the world, but held within it, as if the countless lives contained in the library remembered, forgotten, unfinished were keeping her company, reminding her she was never truly alone in her quietness. At some point, her eyes grew heavy. The letters blurred slightly, not from strain, but from ease. She did not fight it. The book rested open beneath her relaxed hand, the page warm, familiar. A final whisper brushed through her thoughts, softer than all the others. Rest. We'll keep the place for you, Anara. Closed her eyes. Her breathing found its deepest rhythm yet, long and unbroken. The chair held her. The lamplight glowed steadily. The library remained awake in the way old things do, alert, without restlessness, present without expectation. She did not sleep deeply, not fully. It was more like drifting, hovering between awareness and rest, buoyed by the gentle hum of stories murmuring just beyond words. Her thoughts slowed until they became impressions, then softened further into quiet. When at last she stirred, it was without urgency. The book lay closed now, though she did not remember closing it. The lamp beside her had dimmed slightly. As if mindful of her rest, Anara straightened, feeling refreshed in a way that surprised her. No stiffness, no heaviness, only calm, the kind that settled deep and stayed. She stood, stretching slowly, and returned the book to its hidden place among the taller shelves. As she slid it back, her fingers lingered on the spine. "Thank you," she whispered. The library answered in the only way it ever did. With a silence so complete, it felt like kindness. Anara turned off the lamps, one by one, the darkness arriving gently behind her. When she stepped outside, the night air wrapped around her cool and calm, her breath steady, her heart unhurried. The whispers did not follow her. They did not need to. They had already settled where they belonged inside her quiet, waiting to be remembered whenever she opened herself to stillness again. The night between the pages. The night did not begin with darkness, it began with stillness, and Ara Belwyn stood alone in the library long after the town had gone to sleep, though she could not say exactly when that had happened. The clocks no longer felt relevant. The windows no longer reflected the sky. Everything familiar remained: shelves, tables, lamps, but they existed as if slightly softened at the edges, like objects remembered rather than seen. The worn book rested in her hands. It was closed, yet warm, as though it knew she was there. Anara had not planned to stay. She rarely did. But the moment she touched the book that evening, something shifted. Not abruptly, not dramatically, but with the quiet certainty of a door easing open on well-oiled hinges. The library exhaled, and she stepped fully into that breath. The lamps glowed without visible flame, their light drifting instead of falling. Shadows no longer clung to corners. They hovered gently, unafraid. When Anara took a step forward, the sound of it was not a footstep, but a hush. Like silk brushing silk, she opened the book. The pages did not reveal ink. They revealed space. Letters rose slowly from the paper, lifting as if unburdened by gravity. Paragraphs unfolded themselves into the air, drifting upward in loose, luminous ribbons. Words glowed softly, not bright enough to demand attention, but warm enough to guide it. The space between shelves widened, stretching into something vast and tender. Anara's breath slowed. Instinctively, she did not feel surprised. She felt welcomed. She stepped forward, and the floor beneath her feet responded like a held thought, solid, yet forgiving. As she walked, sentences floated past her shoulders, phrases turning lazily as if to show themselves from every angle. Some were clear, others blurred at the edges, their meanings more felt than understood. A single line drifted close enough to brush her sleeve. "I wanted to stay longer, but I didn't know how to ask." The words dissolved into a faint shimmer as soon as she noticed them. Anara continued on, moving deeper into the library that was no longer quite a library. The shelves curved now, forming gentle arcs instead of rigid lines. Books rested half open, their contents lifting free like quiet spirits, stretching after rest. She reached out and touched a floating word. It was warm at once. A moment bloomed around her. She stood in a small kitchen at dawn, light barely touching the windows. A kettle steamed softly. Someone sat at a table, hands folded, savoring the simple comfort of being awake before the world asked anything of them. The feeling was fleeting but complete. Then it faded. Anara lowered her hand, heart steady, eyes calm. She understood now. These were not stories meant to be read in the usual way. They were moments people had lived but not claimed, feelings too gentle, too quiet, too easily dismissed while awake. The book had gathered them patiently, without judgment, preserving what might otherwise have slipped through, unnoticed. She walked on. A paragraph drifted overhead, its letters rearranging themselves slowly, like a thought searching for the right shape. As she passed beneath it, she felt a sudden swell of affection, uncomplicated. The warmth of caring without expectation, the peace of simply wishing someone well. Nearby, a cluster of glowing letters pulsed faintly, their light deepening and softening in rhythm. Anara realized they were breathing. So was the library. She felt it then, not just as a sensation, but as a truth. This space existed between moments, between waking and sleep, between holding on and letting go. It was the night between the pages, where nothing was rushed and nothing was lost. Anara found herself standing before a wide open expanse where the shelves ended. Beyond it, the air shimmered with unformed text thoughts, not yet shaped into language, emotions resting before becoming memory. The worn book in her hands hummed quietly, its warmth spreading into her palms. She opened it again. This time, the pages did not lift away. Instead, they glowed softly, revealing moments she recognized, not as events, but as feelings she had once brushed aside. A younger Anna, sitting alone by a window, content but unsure if she was allowed to be. An evening spent shelving books long after closing, feeling peaceful and slightly guilty for enjoying it so much. The comfort of silence shared with another person, neither needing to fill it. Each moment rose gently from the page and hovered before her. Waiting, "You kept these," she whispered. The book responded not with sound, but with warmth, deepening until it felt like a quiet affirmation. Anara realized then that the book was not selective in the way people were. It did not decide which moments were important. It simply noticed what humans overlooked: the pauses, the almosts, the soft edges of living that slipped away because no one thought to hold them. She stepped forward, and the space around her shifted again. Letters arranged themselves into pathways beneath her feet. Paragraphs arched overhead like branches. The glow deepened into hues of honey and starlight. Time stretched not longer, but wider, giving every step room to settle as she walked. Moments brushed past her like passing strangers, each one offering a feeling rather than a story. Relief, longing without pain, satisfaction in small completion, love that did not need a name. Her heartbeat slowed until it felt synchronized with the space itself. Anara noticed that she was no longer holding the book. It floated beside her now, pages turning lazily, releasing memories and gathering new ones at the same time. She felt no fear at this, only trust. She stopped beside a particularly bright cluster of words, their glow steady and kind. You don't have to justify quiet. The sentence settled into her chest, warm and grounding. She exhaled, shoulders relaxing further than she realized they had been holding. The library seemed to lean closer, as if pleased. "How many people have been here?" she asked softly. The answer came not as a number, but as an impression, countless, yet intimate. Not crowds, but individuals, one at a time, slipping into this space without knowing how, leaving behind pieces of themselves that were too gentle to carry alone. Anara felt honored. She walked until her steps slowed, until the floating letters thinned and the glow softened. The space began to fold back into itself, shelves reappearing, lamps settling into familiar places. The book drifted back into her hands, its warmth easing into something calm and steady. The library breathed in. The dreamlike quality did not vanish all at once. It receded gradually, like mist lifting at morning. Words returned to pages. Pages returned to books. Gravity remembered itself. Anara stood once more in the quiet library, the lamps glowing softly. The worn book opened before her on the table. Nothing appeared, changed. Everything was. She closed the book gently and held it to her chest for a moment, feeling the echo of the night between the pages settle inside her. The understanding lingered not as wonder, but as peace. Some moments, she knew now, were too tender to be held while awake, but they were never lost. She returned the book to its hidden place behind the taller shelves, smoothing the spines back into order. As her fingers left the leather cover, the warmth faded not, gone. Just resting, the library felt content. Anna turned off the lamps one by one. The darkness that followed was not empty, but full in the quietest way. When she stepped outside, the night greeted her cool and gentle, her breath slow, her heart unhurried behind her. The library settled into its watchful stillness between its pages. The night waited patiently, ready to hold whatever the waking world was too gentle to keep. Healing what was never finished. The realization did not arrive all at once. It settled into Anara Belwyn slowly, the way warmth spreads through cold hands quietly, patiently, without asking to be noticed. She stood in the library as morning edged toward afternoon. Light drifting across the floor in long, thoughtful bands, and felt the truth resting beside her rather than before her. The worn book lay closed on the table. For the first time since she had found it, she did not feel the urge to open it. That, she understood, was the point. The library was awake in its gentle way. Shelves stood steady, lamps rested unlit, and the air held the soft, attentive, calm Anara had come to recognize as listening. She moved through the space slowly, as she always did, but now her movements carried a deeper tenderness, as if she were walking through something still healing. She paused beside the table and placed her hand on the book's cover. Its warmth was faint today, like embers rather than flame. "It's not meant to be read," she whispered, the words forming without effort. "Not the way people think of reading." The book did not respond with whispers or drifting letters. Instead, a quiet understanding rose in her chest, steady and sure. She felt it in the stillness of the room, in the way her breath deepened without instruction. The book was meant to be felt. Anara sat, drawing the chair closer, but leaving the book closed. She did not rush to fill the silence. She had learned, over years, among forgotten things, that silence was often the most important part of a conversation. Memories brushed against her, awareness not intrusively, not insistently. They arrived as impressions, each one asking only to be acknowledged. A man who had meant to apologize, but never found the moment. A woman who loved deeply, but quietly, convinced it didn't count unless spoken aloud. Someone who left a place believing they would return and carried the weight of that promise long after time had moved on. Anara did not see their faces. She did not hear their voices. She felt them, and that was enough. One by one, she let each presence settle, naming nothing, fixing nothing. She did not try to complete their stories or imagine happier endings. She simply allowed them to exist, whole in their incompleteness. "I see you," she murmured, "not to anyone in particular. You mattered." The library seemed to soften around her. She realized then that healing did not always mean resolution. Sometimes it meant permission to stop reaching, to stop holding breath, to stop waiting for a moment that would never arrive. These stories had not needed endings. They needed rest. Anara's hand grew warmer against the book. As she sat with the quiet, something unexpected happened. The gentle attention she offered outward turned inward, like a tide changing direction without force. Her own memories stirred, not dramatic ones, not the kind people spoke about when they talked of loneliness. These were smaller, quieter truths she had learned to keep, folded away. Evenings spent alone that felt peaceful, but carried a faint ache she never named. Conversations that stayed on the surface, because she did not know how to ask for more. A life filled with meaning, yet missing the simple warmth of being known. Anara's throat tightened slightly. She had never felt abandoned, never truly isolated. And yet, there had always been a soft space inside her that echoed a place she filled with routine, with books, with careful kindness toward others. She had told herself it was enough. The book warmed further. Without opening it, Anara sensed its response not as reflection, but recognition. It did not offer answers or reassurance. It simply held her unspoken feelings up to the light, the way a still pond reflects the sky without comment. Her loneliness did not feel like a flaw here. It felt like something understandable, something shared. Anara inhaled slowly, allowing the sensation to rise and settle without resistance. The ache softened as soon as she stopped pushing it away. She felt a subtle shift, like a knot loosening that she had not realized she was carrying. "It's all right," she said quietly, this time to herself. "You don't have to be full to be whole." The words did not echo. They did not need. The library breathed, long and even, and Anara felt herself breathing with it. The stories resting within the book seemed to grow lighter, their presence less insistent, as though grateful to be acknowledged at last. She stood and carried the book to its hidden place among the taller shelves. As she slid it back, she felt no sense of farewell, only trust. The book did not need to be watched over. It knew its work now, and so did she. The rest of the day passed gently. Anara helped visitors find what they were searching for, sometimes books, sometimes simply a quiet place to sit. She listened more than she spoke, offering small smiles and unhurried attention. When someone lingered uncertainly at the desk, she did not rush them along. She understood now the power of being allowed to pause. As evening approached, the library shifted into its familiar twilight state. Lamps flickered on. Shadows lengthened, unafraid. Anara closed the front doors with care and stood for a moment in the center of the room. The loneliness she had carried for so long was still there, but it felt different now. Not sharp, not hollow. It felt like an open window. She realized she did not need it to disappear. It was part of her sensitivity, her gentleness, her ability to notice what others missed. It was the space that allowed her to hold stories without demanding they change. That space no longer frightened her. Anara moved through the aisles one last time, fingers brushing spines, offering silent gratitude. The library felt settled, peaceful in a deeper way than before, as though something unfinished had finally been allowed to rest. When she turned off the lamps and stepped into the night, the air felt cool and kind against her skin. The stars overhead were scattered and soft, not demanding to be named. She walked home unhurriedly, her footsteps light, her thoughts quiet. Behind her, the library remained watchful, breathing, holding its stories gently. And within Anara, something long unspoken had finally been heard, not by another voice, but by her own steady heart. For the first time in a very long while, that was enough. Morning light and the final page. Morning came not as a moment, but as a soft unfolding. Anara Belwyn was already awake when the first hint of dawn brushed the edges of the library windows. The night had loosened its hold gently, without the abruptness of waking or the ache of parting. She stood near the central table, hands resting lightly on its surface, listening to the quiet that followed a long, meaningful pause. The rustling was gone. No pages turned themselves in hidden corners. No whispers threaded the air. The library felt still in a way that was different from before. Not expectant, not watchful, but settled. As if something essential had been completed and laid carefully to rest. The worn book lay closed. It looked smaller somehow, not diminished, but lighter, as though it no longer carried the weight it once held. Its leather cover, once warm with contained moments, now felt cool and calm beneath Anara's fingertips. Peaceful. She did not feel sadness at the silence, only gratitude. The library greeted the morning gradually. Pale light slipped through the upper windows, tracing gentle lines across the floor, catching dust motes that drifted without purpose. The shelves stood quietly, their long shadows retreating inch by inch as the day took shape. Anara lifted the book. There was no resistance now, no hum of anticipation. It rested easily in her hands, complete in its quietness. She carried it slowly toward the eastern windows, where the light gathered most warmly at this hour. A low table stood there, seldom used, its surface smoothed by decades of sun and time. Anara set the book down carefully, angling it so that the light fell across its cover. The leather absorbed the brightness without gleaming, as though recognizing it. "There," she murmured. "That feels right." The book did not answer. It did not need to. As the sun climbed higher, its rays reached deeper into the room, illuminating spines that had not seen direct light in years. The library felt different, quieter, yes, but also fuller, not crowded, not heavy whole. Anara moved through her morning rituals with unhurried ease. She opened windows slightly, letting fresh air mix with the familiar scent of paper and wood. She wiped the front desk, adjusted a chair that had been left at an angle, straightened a stack of returned books with gentle care. Each action felt intentional without being effortful. When she paused near the eastern table, the book remained still, its presence calm and complete. She sensed no more memories pressing outward, no unfinished moments asking to be held. What had needed acknowledgement had received it. What had needed rest was resting. She realized then that the book had never been about endings. It had been about release. The library door creaked softly as she unlocked it, letting the first visitor of the day step inside. Morning light followed them in, spilling across the threshold like a blessing. The sound of the town, waking, drifted faintly through the open doorway footsteps. Distant voices, the hum of ordinary life, beginning again. Anara smiled in greeting. Her calm was different now, not deeper, perhaps, but steadier. It no longer came from careful balance alone, but from something settled within her, something she did not need to guard. As the day unfolded, visitors came and went. A student searching for a quiet place to study. An older man returning a book with reluctance, as though saying goodbye to a companion. A woman who wandered the shelves without a clear destination, grateful simply to be among books. Anara met each with the same gentle presence, but she noticed something new. People lingered longer near her, not because she said more, she said less, if anything, but because the quiet around her felt inviting rather than empty. She listened with her whole attention, not to respond, but to allow space. In that space, people seemed to settle, shoulders easing, breaths slowing. She understood now what the book had given her in return. Not the absence of loneliness, but companionship with herself. The afternoon light shifted, then softened. Shadows lengthened, familiar and untroubled. The book remained where she had placed it, sunlight tracing its edges, then slowly moving on as the day progressed. By evening, the light no longer reached the table directly, but the warmth lingered. When it came time to close the library, Anara did so with the same care she always had, but without the quiet ache she once carried at day's end. She walked the aisles one last time, fingertips brushing spines, her steps slow and grounding. The library breathed not in invitation this time, but in contentment. She paused beside the eastern table. "Thank you," she said softly, not sure whether she meant the book, the library, or the countless quiet lives that had passed through both. Perhaps all of them. She turned off the lamps one by one. Darkness settled gently, without urgency or demand. When she opened the door to leave, the cool night air greeted her like an old friend. Anara stepped outside and closed the door behind her. The library stood silent and steady, holding its fullness without effort. As she walked home beneath the deepening sky, the calm she carried did not feel fragile. It did not feel temporary. It felt like something that would linger into other evenings, other silences, other small moments that might once have slipped past unnoticed. She knew now how to feel them, how to let them rest. Morning would come again, and with it, another day of quiet stewardship. Anara would open the doors, welcome the light, and move gently through the world, not afraid of its softness, not hurried by its noise. The final page had closed, not with an ending, but with peace. And that peace, she knew, would follow her into every night that waited patiently between the pages of her life. Thank you for spending this quiet night with Whispers of the Night. May the calm of this story stay with you as you drift into rest. Let your dreams be soft, unhurried, and kind. We'll be here again whenever you need stillness. Good night and sleep peacefully.